All right, let's spill some Tudor tea. Elizabeth I, the legendary Virgin Queen, wasn't supposed to be queen at all. In fact, when she was born, people were like, cute, but where's the son? Her childhood, a messy mix of royal glamour, betrayals, and survival. If Elizabeth was alive today, she'd have trust issues, and for good reason. So let's dive into the drama of the girl who went from unwanted daughter to one of England's greatest rulers. Elizabeth was born on September 7th, 1533, to Henry VIII and his second wife, Anne Boleyn. Henry had dumped his first wife, Catherine of Aragon, after nearly 20 years of marriage because she hadn't given him a surviving son. That divorce was such a big deal that Henry literally broke England away from the Catholic Church to make it happen. All that chaos. And what does he get? Another daughter? Don't get me wrong. People still celebrated Elizabeth's birth with fireworks and pageants. But the vibe was definitely, well, maybe next time. Henry needed a son to secure the Tudor dynasty. Elizabeth, adorable as she was, didn't fit the bill. And then came the scandal. In 1536, when Elizabeth was just 2 years old, her mother Anne was accused of adultery, incest, and witchcraft. Yeah, witchcraft. Historians are clear. These charges were mostly cooked up to get rid of her. Henry had fallen for Jane Seymour, and Anne was in the way, so off with her head. Overnight, Elizabeth went from Princess Elizabeth to just Lady Elizabeth. Her royal status stripped, declared illegitimate, and shuffled to the side. Imagine the gossip in court. One day you're the king's darling daughter, the next day you're basically a nobody. Brutal. Life didn't get any easier. Elizabeth grew up in a court where loyalty was fragile and favour could vanish in an instant. Henry VIII married 4 more times after Anne Boleyn, giving Elizabeth a carousel of stepmothers. Her luck improved with Catherine Parr, Henry's 6th and final wife. Catherine was kind, intelligent, and took her role as stepmother seriously. She insisted Elizabeth be well educated. And wow, did Elizabeth shine. By her teens, she could speak Latin, French, Italian, and Spanish. She also studied Greek, philosophy, theology, and even astronomy. Basically, she was the ultimate Renaissance woman, sharp as a blade, which probably saved her life more than once. But court life was still dangerous. After Henry's death in 1547, Catherine Parr remarried a man named Thomas Seymour. He was ambitious, reckless, and frankly creepy. He started paying way too much attention to 14-year-old Elizabeth. Early morning visits, tickling games, even cutting her dress for fun. Catherine initially dismissed it, but when the rumours spread, Elizabeth was sent away. It was an early, harsh lesson. Gossip could ruin her reputation in an instant. And in Tudor England, reputation meant survival. After Henry's death, his sickly son Edward VI became king. Elizabeth was 14, technically out of danger, but not really. The real trouble came when Edward died young, and her Catholic half-sister Mary I became queen. Mary was deeply suspicious of Elizabeth. Why? Because Elizabeth was Protestant, and many people wanted her on the throne instead of Mary. Suddenly, Elizabeth looked like a rival. In 1554, rebellion broke out, led by Sir Thomas Wyatt, who wanted Elizabeth to replace Mary. Elizabeth denied any involvement, but Mary didn't buy it. Elizabeth was arrested and thrown into the Tower of London, the same place her mother Anne Boleyn had been executed. She was only 20. Imagine sitting in a cold stone cell knowing your sister could sign your death warrant at any moment. The gossip swirling around court was intense. Is Elizabeth plotting to overthrow Mary? Some said she was innocent, others swore she was a mastermind. Elizabeth, clever as ever, refused to admit to anything. She wrote careful letters, cried at just the right times, and played the role of the frightened but loyal sister. It worked. After 2 months, she was released, but placed under house arrest, constantly watched. Elizabeth learned a hard lesson. Never show your true thoughts, never put anything dangerous in writing, and never ever let your enemies see you sweat. By her 20s, Elizabeth had basically mastered the art of survival. She kept her head down in public, but she was always observing, always learning. She knew how to smile and flatter, but also how to play dumb when it kept her safe. Privately, she built alliances, read everything she could, and prepared herself for the possibility, however unlikely, that she might one day rule. Meanwhile, Mary's reign grew more unstable. Her unpopular marriage to Philip of Spain, her failure to produce an heir, and her brutal persecution of Protestants earned her the nickname Bloody Mary. Elizabeth, Protestant and unmarried, started to look more and more like the natural successor. By the time Mary died in 1558, Elizabeth was 25. After a lifetime of scandal, suspicion, and survival, she suddenly became Queen of England. The girl who wasn't supposed to matter, illegitimate, imprisoned, overshadowed, was now the ruler of one of the most powerful nations in Europe. And trust me, the drama was just getting started. So here's the tea. Elizabeth grew up in a court where every smile could hide betrayal, every friendship could end in disaster, and every mistake could get you executed. Those survival skills, her caution, her intelligence, her ability to keep people guessing, would define her reign. But Elizabeth also built her brand as the Virgin Queen. Was it true? Or just the greatest PR move in history? That's what we'll spill in the next episode.